Mummy B, Scene 12. Thoughts of Jane and her mother faded from my mind as I got home and faced my own problems. As I entered my room, the strong smell of air freshener nearly bowled me over. I had almost forgotten about my little accident last night. I sure hoped it was a one-time thing. Peter. I jumped as my dad knocked on the door. My gosh, Peter. Dad gagged, "What is that smell?" "Air freshener," I replied, not sure what else to say. "What have you done?" "Taken up smoking," Dad said, elbowing me in the ribs. He was kidding, of course. Dad knew me better than that. No, I reassured him. I found some old food I must have left in here. It really smelled bad. I guess I overdid it with the air freshener. Yeah, I would say so. Anyway, dinner is ready, come on down. He seemed to buy it, at least I hoped. Still, I opened a window before heading downstairs for supper. Nothing else was said about my room or the smell of it for the rest of the evening. I figured my dad had not even given it a second thought. Still, I was thinking about it. Though I was certain I wouldn't wet my bed again tonight, I couldn't help but worry. I had already ruined one side of my mattress. If I wet the other side, I'd get found out for sure. My mom still changed my sheets sometimes, and if she saw the stain on my bed, well, I didn't even want to think about that. I had to find some way to protect the mattress. The plastic sheet that I used to keep on my bed had been thrown out years ago, so that wasn't an option. I didn't have any good nights either. Unlike Jane's mom, mine hadn't seen a reason to keep them around once I stopped wetting. I think she gave all the leftover ones to one of my younger cousins. I sure wished I had one now. But wait. I did. The goodnights I had bought for Jane were still in the back of my car. They were girls' goodnights, of course, but still it seemed my only option, and a better one than wetting the bed again. I went out to the car and retrieved a goodnight from the pack. I tucked it into the waistband of my pants and pulled my shirt down over it. After throwing my jacket back over the pack, I went back in the house and up to my room. I shut and locked my door before pulling the goodnight out. Turning it over in my hand, I examined it. It's just like underwear, I tried to tell myself. Pink underwear with butterflies on it, that is. But no one would see me, I reasoned. Still, I couldn't help but feel slightly awkward as I slipped off my pants and boxers and pulled on the undergarment. The fit was rata snug. I guess I had grown a bit since I last wore one of these, I thought. It will have to do, I told myself, reasoning that I probably wouldn't even need it. Before bed, however, I tucked a towel under my sheets just in case. I woke up the next morning to the jarring sound of my alarm clock. It took me a minute to come out of my haze and remember what I was wearing. Not recalling any particularly racy dreams from last night, I pulled back my blanket. Sure enough, I was completely dry. I let out a sigh of relief. I wasn't becoming a bedwetter again after all. However, I couldn't help but feel a tad bit disappointed. The conflicting feelings confused me. I knew I was glad to not have to deal with bedwetting again, especially when I was off to college in a few short months. But still, something about it intrigued me. I had always known that Jane's accidents interested me, but I had never thought about having one of my own. The last time I wet the bed, I was 14, and I had never done it on purpose. The thought somehow appealed to me though, and I wasn't sure why. What could it hurt? I thought. After all, I was wearing a goodnight, I might as well use it for its purpose. I relaxed and released my bladder. The flow started almost immediately. I was surprised at how easy it was. See, Jane, I thought to myself, it's not so hard. I finished peeing and got out of bed. Immediately I noticed 2 wet spots on my sheets. Feeling the back of my boxers, I confirmed my fear. I had leaked. Silently kicking myself, I pulled the sheets from bed. Luckily, my backup plan had worked. The towel was wet but the mattress was dry. I went into the bathroom and tore open the sides of the soaked goodnight. It plopped to the floor with a wet squish. I stepped into the shower and turned on the water. After my shower, I took the wet goodnight and tied it in a plastic bag. I gathered my wet sheets and headed down to the laundry room, hoping no one would find it strange I was washing sheets 2 days in a row. Then I went back to my room and got my school things. As I left the house, I tossed the plastic bag with my wet goodnight in the curbside can. Fortunately, it was trash day and all the evidence of my morning experiment would soon be gone. Arriving at school, I wondered how Jane had fared last night. My question was soon answered when I arrived at her locker. She greeted me with a big smile. "Well, you seem to be in a much better mood," I observed. "I'm a big kid now," Jane quipped. "What?" I said, confused by her comment. "I got my good nights back," Jane whispered. I would never have thought I would be happy to say that, but given the alternative. "So you got away with it?" I asked. "Your mom didn't suspect anything?" "Nope. She came in and saw how wet my diaper was and just assumed I had been using it all day. She almost seemed sorry for making me wear it," Jane said, keeping her voice low. "But not sorry enough to keep her from putting another one on me," she added ruefully. "I just got these back this morning." She didn't see me leaving then. I checked. I passed her on the way out. She didn't mention it. "I'm glad you left when you did though." Imagine what she would have done if she came in and you were there with me standing in just a wet diaper. "Yeah, imagine," I said simply, remembering my dream from 2 nights ago. The rest of the day was uneventful. Besides catching a few glimpses of Jane's goodnight sticking out of her pants, nothing much exciting occurred. One time I thought I saw another girl looking at it too, so being a good friend I grabbed Jane's shirt and tugged it down. After school we got in the car and headed towards Jane's house. For the first time in days, neither Jane's accidents or subsequent punishments came up in our conversation. That is until we got to Jane's house. "Peter, do you still have those goodnights you bought?" Jane asked timidly. "They are in the back seat," I replied. "Why?" "Mom asked about them this morning," Jane said, adding, "Don't worry, I didn't tell her you bought them for me. I told her that I walked to the drugstore down on the corner and picked them up myself," she explained. "She said since I spent my money on them I might as well not let them go to waste. So I have to keep wearing these things until both packs are gone. It doubled my punishment, but I'm not going to complain after yesterday." As I handed Jane the pack of goodnights from my backseat, a thought occurred to me. "Did you ever figure out how your mom knew you had switched them before?" I asked. "No, I wish I did," Jane replied. "You want to come in for a bit? I promise I don't have any unpleasant tasks for you today." "Sure thing," I replied. Unbeknownst to her, I didn't find her tasks unpleasant in the least. Once inside the house, Jane set the bag of goodnights down on the coffee table. "I guess I'm lucky my mom didn't ask to see them," she stated. "I have no idea what I would have done then." "Yeah, lucky," I replied, looking at the bag of goodnights on the table. I was still pondering how Jane got caught 2 days ago. Remembering how Jane's mom had secured Jane's diaper yesterday gave me an idea. "Jane, can I see one of your goodnights?" I asked suddenly. "The ones you already had, I mean." "I don't have them," Jane responded. "Mom has them locked in her closet. I guess she doesn't trust me anymore, she's giving them to me one at a time." "Why do you want to see them anyway?" "I think I might know how your mom found out we switched them," I explained. "There is the one you have on." "You want to see me in this thing again?" Jane looked at me strangely. "Honestly, Peter, sometimes I think you like seeing me in diapers." No, nothing like that." I hurried to correct her. "It's just I think I know how your mom found out what we did." "Don't you want to know?" "I guess," Jane said reluctantly, "but this is the last time I give you an eyeful for a while, understand?" "Jane, honestly, I don't want to see you in a diaper," I lied. "I'm just trying to help." Jane stood up, unbuttoned her jeans and slipped them down past her knees. "Well, do you see anything?" she asked somewhat impatiently. "Not yet," I said as I walked a full circle around her, studying the goodnight. I wasn't seeing what I was looking for. I moved in closer so my face was only inches from Jane's posterior. What would you do if I cut one right now? Jane teased, seeming to relax a bit. Don't even think about it, I warned. It was exactly the kind of thing she would do. I reached out and ran my finger around the waistband of the goodnight, folding it down slightly. Peter, Jane gasped. Sorry, just checking something, I replied, letting go. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary, which left only one possibility. Jane, you trust me, right? I asked. The fact that I am standing here with my pants down to my knees should answer that. Jane retorted. I asked because I need to check something and you might find it a bit uncomfortable, I explained. I'm pretty sure I have reached my max on embarrassment the past couple of days, Jane replied. What do you need me to do? Sit down on the couch, I started. Peter, this is getting kind of weird, Jane sounded slightly shocked. There it is. I found it, I exclaimed, standing up. Found what? Jane asked, quickly pulling her knees back together. I'll show you. Do you have a hand mirror? I inquired. In the bathroom. Do I have to leave my pants off? Jane was starting to sound impatient. Just for a minute, I responded as I left the room. I returned a minute later with the mirror. Look right here, I pointed. Jane parted her knees again as I positioned the mirror between them. There, between the leg gathers of the goodnight, was a small hand-drawn star. With the mystery solved, Jane hurried to pull up her pants. I knew my mom was sneaky, but this just brings it to a whole new level, Jane said, astounded. The rest of the afternoon was spent watching movies and eating snacks. I made sure to leave well before Jane's mom was due home.